Good morning. Michael Masserang here again, and today I'm here on a really rainy day in Charlotte, North Carolina, actually in Matthews, which is south of Charlotte. And I was asked to come here by one of the spec builders that we work with regularly, one of the biggest spec builders in Charlotte that also works on residential construction, and asked us to investigate a potential foundation problem here on this home. And that's why I'm here today. The homeowner is not here, so it's a good opportunity for me to take some time to really show the public what exactly happens in a foundation inspection and how to interpret certain symptoms. This house is built in the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in that neighborhood, and it's what we call a pier and curtain construction. And looking here at the porch, don't really see any symptoms of distress on the porch. The builder asked us to investigate these hairline cracks, and you can see here where we have some settlement as well as what we call lateral movement or shifting to the right. What happens in these soils, and we are in a drought in this part of the country. It's the first time it's rained in a couple months. It just happens to be today. But you get this shrinking and swelling of the clay, and it can move up and down or laterally left to right. And over many years, you begin to develop cracks in the curtain wall. But these cracks, generally a quarter inch is what the engineering community will use as a baseline. Timelines are also important. We don't really know the timeline, so based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like this movement has been occurring for several years, and a lot of times homeowners just don't notice that. We see this crack here right at the corner. This is what we call a shearing crack, and a couple of the bricks are cracked clean in half, which indicates more aggressive movement. And as we turn the corner, we can see this is pretty clean here on the right side if you're facing from the front. But here we get to this pilaster location, which is behind this vent. We see another crack. The brick is cracked in two, and you can see even some of the masonry is loose here. Certainly all these cracks are well under the quarter-inch threshold, but there's so many of them that this may be a good candidate for a potential deep foundation underpinning system. We see a crack here. This one is not as progressive, but you can kind of see that hairline crack is notable. So it's a total of 5 cracks. This is an interesting crack here. This nook, as we see here, it looks to me like it's rotated outwards, and it's created quite a split with this masonry joint. So very interesting. And this section of the house kind of butts out a little bit. We do have a large tree here, which can pull a lot of moisture out of the soil during a drought. But it's far away from the house, so probably not a factor. The drainage looks okay, maybe some gutter extensions. We do have oversized gutters, but to me, this doesn't look like a drainage problem. This is definitely more of a soil shrinkage problem. And it's always important to do a crawl space inspection as well when doing these types of inspections. A lot of the companies won't even trouble themselves to do that. Here, now see, we're in this nook, and this is what we call a pilaster, and the sill plate sits on top of that, but you can see the separation there. You can see the gap is visible here on the inside of the crawl space. So obviously a deep foundation underpinning unit, or what we call a micropile or a helical pile, based on the product lines that we put in for customers. This is going to need a pier here, and it's separate from the other issue that we looked at earlier. So we're going to crawl in here. Got this notch. Crawl through here. Crawl space, typical Typical pier and curtain wall type of construction, you know, masonry piers, holding a standard 8x16 CMU system, supporting 2x10s on 16-inch centers. This is a flush girder interface that I'm crawling past. This is typical construction of 1980s, 90s. And again, a pier and curtain wall, what they did is they pour the footings, and these pilasters, as you'll see here, are the load points. So this is where any type of deep foundation underpinning system would be on these pilaster locations. Don't really see the cracks coming through the masonry visible on the inside, which is interesting. I expected to see, but obviously that as this continues to shrink and swell and settle, that problem could be more visible on the inside. And considering there's so many cracks to interpret, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 pilaster locations. And this here is the foundation of the porch. Porch looks clean. Don't see any cracks there, so we don't have any settlement. So based on what I'm seeing here, this information I'm going to share with the engineer of record. Of course, I'm doing kind of a pre-recon type of an inspection. In North Carolina, it is required to have a licensed engineer design the repair. If you're getting these types of repairs, considering if you're in the Charlotte area or anywhere in North Carolina, a lot of these franchisee-based companies will try to have their salespeople sell the job and diagnose it. So they're doing the estimate and the investigation and bundling it. They'll sell the job and then bring in the engineer later. It's not how you're supposed to do it. The engineer makes the final judgment. So I'm going to report this data that I'm taking today back to the engineer of record, and the engineer will either agree with me, not agree with me, to determine the final layout. But based on what I'm seeing here, I'm going to request a budget for the builder. We're going to need a total of potentially 4, possibly 5 foundation underpinning units, and that could be a helical pile or a micropile. Based on our data in this part of the city in Matthews, helical piles tend to go deep. They can go sometimes 40 to 50 feet in this area. So having the ability to do the micropile, which is a completely different type of geopier, and gets its strength from the soil around it, becomes part of the earth basically. A grouted micropile is an alternative to a helical pile, and based on our 30 years of experience, may be the better choice here. But again, that'll be the engineering decision. The engineer of record will actually set up a sealed layout and a letter to back it up. We'll also use the engineer for project oversight. So my recommendation to the engineer is 4 to 5 units here to stabilize. As a matter of fact, we look closely here. Here's a crack coming in. So this crack does come clean through the curtain wall. The other cracks are not so noticeable, but this certainly puts it over the top. You know, we do have some interior symptoms, which helps to make that determination when you're going off hairline cracks or cracks less than 1/4 inch. So again, 1/4 inch cracks generally are not considered a foundation problem, but since there are a total of 6 cracks, we are definitely going to need not only a pier here, here, there, and on the corner, but also, as we showed earlier, on the nook, which is a separate part of the foundation. One pier at that pilaster location is probably going to be probative. So this is looking like a 5-pier job to me. So, but this is any type of foundation specialist. You know, myself, I've been doing this for 30 years. You know, a lot of these kids that are showing up with these big corporate conglomerates, they are poorly trained, they don't understand construction, they don't have very much experience. And if they're trying to sell the job right there on the spot, definitely that's a problem, and you should politely thank them and show them the door, because this is a process, And if you're interested in having the job done correctly with the proper oversight, never sign a contract on the first day of work or on the inspection. Yeah, on the initial inspection, never sign a contract with any company, no matter how much pressure they put on you. Give you a discount for signing today, that usual nonsense. You know, just those types of techniques are predatory, and just ignore it. You want to deal with a professional that's going to do initial inspection, as I'm doing today, and also have the courtesy and the professionalism to deal with a third-party engineer. We have 4 firms that we work with in Charlotte. One in particular, it's our favorite. We're going to bring them into the job to work with the builder and the client. But follow the proper protocols. Follow North Carolina building code premises, and you know, and it could save you thousands of dollars on the project. You know, some of these franchisees would come out and want to put 10 piers in here. They don't need that many. So, you know, you want to go with a professional that's not commission-based sales, that's not going to try to have a predetermined outcome on your initial visit, and never pay any of these big companies deposits up front. Never. Always wait until the company shows up to do the work before paying any money. And that's important, no matter how many tricks that they pull out of their playbook. No glossy brochures, none of that nonsense. So, but if you're wanting more information on foundation repair and you want to deal with a local contractor that has been in the business 30 years, that's not affiliated with any of these franchises, then we'd be interested in talking with you to perform a professional inspection, work with an engineer, and do the repairs according to the North Carolina Engineering Board specifications. Give us a call. Look at the bottom of your screen. Call me there. Again, my name is Michael Masserang. You can visit our website. That's also listed below, and send us a message there. But we definitely want to come investigate, help you come up with a common sense repair that's not going to be too expensive, and certainly not going to sell you anything that you don't need. And we also do crawl space work. This crawl space could use a little bit of work. Insulation's kind of old. We got a little bit of microbial growth. You know, the ductwork's got some, you know, definitely got some things to clean up in here if the customer wants to utilize us for that. You know, the vapor barrier could use some work as well, and potentially a moisture control program. That's another division of our company. We're certainly happy to provide those resources as well. But again, this is Michael Masserang in South Charlotte today, doing a perimeter foundation inspection as well as a crawl space inspection for foundation repair. Give us a call at the number at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be glad to come to your house, have a brief phone consultation, come out, do a visit, and get this process started if this is indeed what you're experiencing on your home. So please give us a call, and we thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.